Finally, tonight, a delegation of Polish faithful commemorated the 43rd anniversary of the attempted assassination of St. John Paul II at the Vatican. EWTN Polska journalist Magdalena Wolinska has more.
A bouquet of red and white flowers in St. Peter's Square, mirroring the colors of the Polish flag. Every year, crowds gather to remember the day that a saint was shot. The date was May 13th, 1981, and the victim was Pope John Paul II.
This is exactly where the shots were fired 43 years ago. The Pope was finishing his second ride around the square when suddenly, among cheering crowds of believers, all the birds took flight and the Pope fell limply into the Papamobile.
News cameras were rolling as the shots rang out. The pictures flashed around the world. The faithful held their breath.
It
was terrifying because no one knew what actually happened. Just a few moments before I approached at the middle of St. Peter's Square, people were talking about the assassination attempt. The news had already spread in some way. I saw crowds of people despairing, crying. Others were praying on their knees.
Everyone who was there that day has their own memory of the horrifying aftermath. Luciano Firmani worked in the Vatican for 42 years, serving under 5 popes. He was a member of the Vatican technical staff and lift operator in the Apostolic Palace.
Shots rang out. I thought they were the sounds of caps. And just a moment later, a Pope-mobile flashed in front of me. The Pope was bleeding heavily. I was totally devastated. Suddenly, I noticed a nun in front of me who was struggling with someone. It was him, the killer. She tried to block him.
Another long-time Vatican employee, Demetrio Fortunati, watched as the Papamobile rendezvoused with an ambulance behind Vatican walls.
I was gazing as the bleeding Pope was being laid on the ground after being removed from the Pope-mobile, and then they were carrying him to the ambulance on a stretcher. Suddenly I noticed that the Pope, amidst all the great confusion, was slipping from the stretcher. I jumped over the railing at the printing house in an instant and supported him.
Saint John Paul II survived, but it was the beginning of long years of suffering, as the assassination attempt left permanent damage to his health. The events of the day cast an evil shadow over the Vatican, even as Catholics everywhere came together to pray for their wounded Pontiff. Most of all his fellow Poles, who even 43 years later still gather in St. Peter's Square. From the Vatican for EWTN News Nightly, Magdalena Riedi.